Good morning, everyone. This is Smashy Business Show. I'm Warid Ahmed.
I am Abdul Majid.
It is the 6th of February today. It's a Thursday. The week is almost over, but there's honestly such insane big news. But to me, I don't see it as big news. Whenever I hear of layoffs, I'm honestly just really sad for the people.
Yeah.
I'm really sad for the people. Do you want to tell them what happened, Majid?
Yeah. So the main big stories are, all of them are big for today. MONIIFY, which is one of the startups, a media startup, which is started by Naguib Sawiris. It has laid off a lot of people. So apart from that, we have Sam Altman also today.
Yes.
On the show, Sam Altman.
OpenAI's Altman.
Yeah, coming to Abu Dhabi to, I don't want to use the word.
To beg for money.
Yeah.
He's coming here to beg for money.
Yeah, basically he wants $40 billion for OpenAI, so he's coming here, flying in here to ask for money. Apart from that, lastly, we have, what's the third topic?
So Reuters is basically going to expand into the Middle East by actually launching an Arabic website. And for the first time ever, the Reuters next event is coming to Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi, yeah. So let's start with MONIIFY, I guess.
Interesting media stuff going on today.
Yeah, MONIIFY, basically, I remember the first time they posted something, our CEO, he highlighted it and we were like, okay, there's something new coming. A new competitor, to be honest, but no, we do a lot of better stuff and more stuff than them. But yeah, they they promised a lot in terms of we'll do this, we're for zillennials, not Gen Z, the new term.
I think they were trying to appeal to the new generation.
Yeah.
I think that's what MONIIFY is all about. But just to give you guys like a bit of more context, like, as Majid said, it does belong to Naguib Sawiris.
Yeah.
And, when we say Naguib Sawiris, this is not anybody. This is one of the richest men in Africa. His family is one of the richest families in Africa, in Egypt. And he's actually a telecom giant. And I remember in 2014, he raised more than $4 billion when he sold his stake in his telecommunications company to Russian company Vimpelcom. So he's a pretty big dude. So it's interesting how out of nowhere he was like, okay, I want to launch this media company. I want to launch MONIIFY in the Middle East, and I want to cater to all these young people. That's really what it does come off as.
Yeah.
Because when you take even a look at their news and their format, I always tell Majid this story, like it cracks me up. But I remember I watched this one video that they had. I believe the presenter was Musa. I think it was Musa, and he's a great presenter, but I remember it was basically, the video was him, and he was like, basically, Hussein Sajwani has invested $20 billion into data centers in the US, and, he has the first Trump-branded golf course in the UAE. And I remember the other girl, she's this white girl, but I know she's famous. She responded and she's like, what? I wonder why they're doing that. So you can laugh. It's okay. Yeah. You can laugh, It's okay, She's just wondering, but these are the kind of shows that they host. It's very interesting, and I think that caters to the younger generation, because if you're asking your audience,
to be honest, you look at the content, I've realized that all the suggestions that they gave on crypto and money and all the stories that they did, first of all, 90% of the content was what was being reported throughout the world. Crypto crashed, this happened, that happened.
Yeah.
I don't know, they were trying to do something between Morning Brew, Smashy Business. They're trying to find their own sweet spot. The original content that I saw only were some of the interviews. They launched a new series, Icons, and May Musk was the first guest. The Daily Show was just a show like we do. The Daily Show was a chat between Upton and Carly about the biggest news of the day. So a lot of stuff that they did didn't stand out, to be honest, for me. Apart from the production quality maybe that they had.
Their production really stood out to me.
Because you see the whole setup, Media City, they had a whole space rented out. They built 2 giant studios. Even the pre-shoots videos and the pictures that I saw for the research for the story, they were huge sets. and there's
It's
lighting,
crazy.
and there's
No,
like cameramen.
and all their presenters are just like ultra beautiful.
Yeah.
They all look so great.
They're all always
I got the
nicely
name
dressed
wrong,
up.
by the way. His name's not Musa, it's Isa.
Oh, okay.
Isa really, he's such a great presenter. He used to work for the Khalij Times, and what's really entertaining and funny is that he actually moved to MONIIFY. But let's actually get to the story, like what actually happened here. So basically, MONIIFY actually laid off hundreds of people.
Yeah.
And the reason why this is so big is because it literally just launched like a few months ago.
November 26th, their launch event was in the Museum of the Future. So that's like a big cost. Museum of
Yeah.
Future is not cheap to host any event. We've seen over the years it's become a hotspot for launches. A lot of I remember OKX, an exchange, they did it. There's another media company which has recently surfaced in Dubai, Nukta. They did their launch there. So a lot of people are like picking Museum of the Future just for the aesthetics, but it's quite expensive. Apart from that, a lot of people were flown in from across the world. One of the employees who was recently fired, and she has a open for jobs sign on her LinkedIn now. She went to Twitter, she tagged Naguib Sawiris, and she wrote a whole article on what they did great with MONIIFY. They, according to her, they actually gave some people competition in the market who were there for a lot of time. But I don't know, she just said randomly we were fired. There was no proper processes, complained about the HR not knowing what to do about layoffs, the company as a whole having no policy about layoffs, and just shifting people from another country. They're like, for example, if I'm working in Pakistan for 20 years and someone calls me to Dubai, gives me promises, we're launching this big thing, we have millions in backing and investors, and obviously I will be intrigued by the idea. And when you put big names on it, Naguib Sawiris, Billionaire, former CEO of Euronews, Michael Peters, all these guys, you put these names, and then you put the names of influencers. That was the most interesting part for me for MONIIFY. They didn't just hire anybody. They didn't hire Vardhan Majid, who no one knew before Smashy Business, right? We worked on Smashy Business. We're trying to build a brand from scratch. They actually hired people who were brands in themselves, influencers.
But I think that's where the issue was, by the
Yeah.
way. Because, like, did you see that, like, video I was telling you about of Raisa being like, oh my God, Sajwani went and got $20 billion, data centers. And then the girl's name, her name's Carly. Her name's Carly Riley, I believe.
Yeah.
She responded and said, I don't know, why are they doing that? I think that's an issue, by the way. It's when because they're influencers.
Over-dramatize everything, right?
It's not even drama. It's actually just lack of information. Because remember when we were talking about Sajwani and you were like, Ward, like, why do you think this is happening? And I'm like, for sure, he's expanding his real estate company to America. What happens a few weeks later? We found out that indeed Sajwani is looking to build this mansion of, it had a name.
Condos, something. I also forgot the name.
It had a beautiful name, but they are looking to build. Yes,
Del Mar.
Exactly. So they are looking to build in the U.S. I think the issue was they brought over influencers.
Yeah.
And with influencers, you don't actually bring in knowledge.
I'm
sorry, you bring in their brand presence, you bring in their personalities, but you don't bring in knowledge. I don't think that's what it is.
The idea was we'll hire 10 influencers who have millions of followers across different platforms. Someone is big on Insta, someone is big on TikTok. And those followers of those influencers will translate
to the account.
into MONIIFY followers.
But it kind of did, though, because I have a friend.
No, but they love 16,000.
No. Let me tell you, I have a friend. They love Upton.
Okay.
They love Upton, and the second that they saw him on the account, they're like, "Oh my God, MONIIFY!" And you know what that friend told me, which is so hilarious. You know what they told me, Majid? They said, "What? Honestly, if I were you, I'd move to MONIIFY. I'd go work for No, seriously.
Thankfully, you didn't.
They told me this, and then you know what I told them? I was like, I really have a gut feeling here that this isn't something stable. It didn't seem stable to me, and it didn't seem like it had a purpose. It looked too good to be true. You know when something looks too good to be true? There was no substance here.
See,
but
the three things that their finance guy, I don't remember the name exactly and their position, but I was reading through a press release. I'll find the name and tell you. But he highlighted that there's three revenue streams that we'll use. One is that our website, which they launched, like really great. Oh, we'll have videos and this and that. It's a very like flashy website. they said that one of the revenue streams will be that all the content after a few months will go behind a paywall. And we've seen that happen with a lot of big publications. Wall Street Journal, The Guardian is free for now, Arabian Business from the UAE. We've seen so many big media giants who can afford a website. They have gone behind a paywall to make money, but still they're not. You see what we do with Bloomberg, right?
Yeah.
If they post something, we just go to Yahoo News, and Yahoo News has the same exact article.
You're
for
a genius
free.
for that, Majid.
Yeah,
you know
because
that, right?
see, if I am a news source, I'll buy Bloomberg and give everyone for free. I'll have more people coming to my website then. So that's the idea that Yahoo uses. But my main problem with MONIIFY was the revenue streams that they thought of were wrong. You can't make millions from paywalling your content.
You know what's crazy,
and then you're
Majid?
posting all that content on social media as well.
I remember when we went to, which summit was it? Yes, Global Media Congress in Abu Dhabi, when I was, me and Richard went for it. All over, everywhere. You should have seen this, like how good their branding was. Like even on the, what's it called? The TV screen, like saying the conference's name, right next to it was MONIIFY.
Yeah, they were the strategic partner.
Yeah. Even on my actual badge, MONIIFY was right on it. And that's like weeks after it came out.
And they paid a lot of money to do it, I guess. You
a lot of money. They did.
Sponsorship without money.
But like we need to tell them what's even more interesting about this entire thing. So basically, the CEO of MONIIFY is this guy called Michael Peters, who also launched Euronews with Naguib before. However, what happened with Euronews is that it was not doing well. So, back in the day. So in 2021, Naguib actually went to sell his 88% controlling stake in Euronews. Why is this history repeating itself again? It's the same people coming to work again together and not creating a successful product again. I feel like they should have learned from the first time, don't you think?
But one of the shows, again, they had so many shows. One of the shows is Money Moves. So the very first interview that happened on Money Moves was Naguib Sawiris himself. And the host asked him, like, you lost so much money in Euronews. Why are you coming back to this? Why are you coming back to the media business? And he said that, yes, when we acquired Euronews and when everything happened, we were losing a lot of money yearly. But then he was like, I made money when I sold it. So he was like, even though I lost a lot of money throughout the years, but my total investment, whatever I spent from start till selling it, I still made money when I sold it. So for him, it was not a bad deal.
Of course.
It's always a bad deal for the lowest denominator, the people who are working at a place.
Yeah.
Because whenever some new company launches, it's not with media business only. Whenever a new company launches, they try to outsmart their competition in the market by giving like 5 or 10% higher salaries to attract talent, right? It's a very common practice in business. So if I start a startup like Smashy Business tomorrow, I know if someone is getting paid this much, they will never leave a stable something job if I don't offer them extra incentive. And that extra incentive is always money.
But Majid, I feel like with MONIIFY, there was definitely an issue with leadership there.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why I think this. You know why I'm convinced to stay here, by the way? To stay with Smashy Business, stay with Love in Dubai, Augustus Media, because of Richard. So, for those of you who don't already know, Richard Fitzgerald is the CEO of Augustus Media. Yeah. And the reason why I'm convinced to stay here, by the way, is because of the fact that he has a vision. He's motivated. Does that make sense? And I never used to believe this before. You know the saying that goes that, like, if your leader isn't doing something, if they're not motivated, you're not going to do it either. Do you know what I mean? I feel like the reason why what we have, Smashy Business, it all has there's so much substance there. There's so much wisdom there. It's because of who? It's because of Rich. MONIIFY, I don't think they had anybody leading that branding. I don't think they had any direction. It was just that it all looked really good and it all sounded really good. Do you know what I mean? It's also kind of what they say, like with a good interviewee, It's not the fact that you're asking nice questions, by the way. The questions can sound great, but are you getting great answers?
Yeah.
The responses that you're getting and what MONIIFY was getting, I guess was not that great, but you said something that really caught my eye, Majid. You said that, it's always people who are the lower denominator who get affected. I think that we should really read out the message of, this girl who was laid off from MONIIFY and what she said. She actually added Naguib Sawiris on X, and she said to Naguib Sawiris, there's a big chance you won't see this, but there's a good chance you might, and it's definitely worth a shot. I'm one of the people that fell victim to MONIIFY. The carnage that happened, the shutting down of the entire newsroom, and in a couple of hours, we were made redundant. The same group of people who left stable jobs and moved continents to come and join a company we didn't even know the name of. That's how big of the leap of faith was. That's how much we trusted your name. We delivered and you failed to reciprocate. Naguib, not only have you let us down, but you also just lost world-class talent.
Yeah.
And I think with this, it's so dangerous. This really is, because this is a loss of people's livelihoods. As you said, they moved from other countries, but not just that. It's world-class talent. And me and Majid have had this conversation before. It is so dangerous to sever ties with people.
Yeah.
It is so dangerous to sever ties with people.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
And Majid, no matter how angry and no matter how much I truly despise somebody, I'm not going to say hate because it's a strong word and I don't think anybody should use it. I never sever ties with them, by the way, because I really have this insane belief, by the way, that somebody you might kick on the curb the next day might become your president. And I really mean it. They might have insane power and you'll just be standing there like, damn. I wish I kept my relationship really good with them. And, I know that Naguib, he's a billionaire. He doesn't need these people. But in the end of the day, all of us, we're all humans. We all need people in the world. And I think what he did is, this is not just a destruction of a company, a media company. This is the complete destruction of a network. And they're influencers. Let me tell you, influencers have very big mouths. In this community, Majid, I realized everything goes around. Yeah. Everything goes around. And they have big mouths, and I don't think they're going to shut up about it. Because that's all they have. They have their voices. Yeah. That's what they do.
And people will come up and see, if it is within a country, I would understand that, okay, someone was already in the country. People have moved continents for them. And then this happens. It's a very bad sign. Obviously, it shows lack of faith. Lack of will from whoever was in charge of this. Also on our post, we're getting comments. One of the guys is saying that the CEO was nowhere to be seen during the firing and he's only there for interviews. We don't know what happened behind the scenes, why this is happening, but it's very clear that it's all motivated by money, because if you're not making money, obviously you'll start firing people, and the big guys always up there will save their positions by firing lower people. Media business, I've seen it very close over 13 years of my career. I've seen this purge happening throughout.
Has
not
it ever
only
happened
here.
to you?
No, thankfully
That's
not.
great. Amen. Amen. The Lord is protecting you.
Yeah, but the funny story is that I worked in Pakistan in a media company which had an English newspaper. And in Pakistan, being an English journalist is a safety in itself, because not a lot of people write, read, or do good English. So our jobs were always safe. But in Urdu media, all the local journalists, they were nearly every 2 years laid off by this newspaper or that newspaper, and they'd move from one place to another. Recently we saw the National laid off nearly 20 people. That was also a story which made headlines, and according to what everyone is saying, the National is also doing restructuring, so they laid off people. So across the board, it's not just MONIIFY, across the board, the media industry and the media companies, either they're not developing a new strategy, they're not moving as fast as the world is moving in terms of revenue generation. You just look at, sorry to give a very close to my heart example and close to my pocket example, but Augustus Media, we just recently published our numbers. We made 12 million in revenue. We are very open about our numbers. Made 12 million in revenue, more than 2.5 or nearly 3 million in net profit. We have a staff of over 110 or 20 people. Everyone gets paid on time. Why? Because the idea again is to not create a product and just think or believe that it will pay off. You create a product by seeing the demand in the market. And I think Love in Dubai has Love in Dubai, the main product that we have under Augustus Media, it has a demand in the market. People want to come get even put a story with us, do carousel posts with us, do reels with us, do shoots with us.
Yeah, exactly.
We have a whole studio here which comes under ODM. And this is the studio.
Yeah.
Everything is a product,
Majid,
right?
that's why when that friend who told me, what, you should consider MONIIFY. No, seriously, they gave me this as like real advice. I said no. I was like, I would never choose something like that because of the fact that with Love in Dubai, with Smashy Business, and I'm so grateful for it, we get this really privileged opportunity where we don't just get to be on the desk. And I think in that sense, Majid, me and you are even more lucky because of the fact that, we're the Smashy Business team. Yeah. We can sit on the desk and we can do writing, but we can also venture out. We can go to these business summits and, with Love in Dubai, I can hop in and this week, where am I off to this week? Ooh, this week I'm gonna do a reel for Limited Cafe. It's that like multifaceted. It's such a multifaceted business, and I think that they really knew how to monetize very well. Yeah. And that's something that I really learned. And with MONIIFY, that's just not the case. They don't have that network. It's not there.
We'll get you more updates on this story. Obviously,
yes,
we'll do a whole follow-up piece on it as well. We just reported it on our Instagram, on our social. This has happened, but we'll try to dig deeper and tell you all the stories that we can. Apart from that, Sam Altman.
Oh, this topic is good. Oh my God, I love this topic.
He's coming to Abu Dhabi.
He's coming to Abu Dhabi, and as you all know, Abu Dhabi has been voted as the richest city in the world. And it's the richest city of the world because of the amount of sovereign wealth funds that are in it. The wealth, the capital pool in it is just absolutely insane. It really is insane, and even Sam Altman needs to dip his toes into that pool. But more so than that, I honestly think that he's begging. He needs it. Basically, what happened is that
after DeepSeek, he has to literally.
He has to, of course. Just recently, we saw how DeepSeek literally hit #1 on all of the Apple charts in the world. And it's crazy because, by the way, it was just like recently launched in January 1. Yeah. It's R1 model. And, according to Routers, they only used $6 million for their, the chips that they needed to actually create it, whereas OpenAI's ChatGPT used over $6 billion. Yeah. So we definitely understand why Altman here is, he's very threatened. He's very threatened, and he said, okay, I gotta go run into the Gulf. Yeah. I need to go run into the people who have money. Yeah. No, because seriously though, the GC has the money. All the money is there, and Abu Dhabi, out of all like cities, like Abu Dhabi money is that's just a different thing.
Another important thing about Abu Dhabi is it has $100 billion fund which is called MGX, which was created by the government. There is a department of artificial intelligence and digital something. Very long name. It's a government department, and they created MGX, which is a merger between G42 and AD and Mubadala. So long story short, there's this fund MGX which has $100 billion, and they can use it to invest in data infrastructure, which is like data centers and everything AI. So what Sam Altman is doing last year, after half the year, around August or September, he raised $6.6 billion because he thinks that OpenAI and ChatGPT need a lot of computing power, so he needs a lot of money to just keep it running. So he raised $6.6 billion. It was the largest VC round in the history of VC rounds. MGX participated there as well. Now he is asking for $40 billion.
$40 billion.
$6.6 billion, he's raised the stakes to $40 billion.
And Majid, honestly, when I read that $40 billion, I didn't even look at it as a big number due to the fact that the project that Altman here is trying to build is a $500 billion project. And it's the Stargate project. After Trump officially became president, he announced it with Sam Altman, the CEO of SoftBank, all of them standing right by his side. And basically what Stargate is trying to do is that it's trying to build better AI infrastructure across the US, and they're trying to build data centers. And they're mainly being backed by Oracle and SoftBank and OpenAI. However, the other investment partners include MGX, Microsoft, and NVIDIA. And it's such the entire project, because it's $500 billion, Majid. When I read that Sam Altman was coming to Abu Dhabi so he can get $40 billion, that just like brushed my mind, by the way. I didn't even deep it whatsoever. In my mind, I was like, oh, they're still far from the number.
Stargate and this trip by Altman are different because OpenAI itself is a company. Sam Altman flying to Abu Dhabi, he wants to raise money for OpenAI only now. And that's what his ask is, 40 billion. So that's a separate thing. For Stargate, yes, MGX is an investment partner. We don't still know how much they're going to invest in it, but they are an investment partner. And the idea of Stargate is over 4 years, over Trump's whole period of being president, they will build infrastructure. Obviously, it will get jobs. Vard asked a very interesting question that if it's a private venture between private companies, joint venture between, why was Trump the face of it?
Because I kept reading every single article. It seems
like it's a government project, right?
It does. It seems like it's a joint venture. And I think, honestly, I really think that that's really wrong for the people when they're reading all these news articles and Trump's face is just splattered there. They're going to think that Trump did this project.
Basically, Trump promised jobs, money, a lot of investment in US. So these three guys, they came to Trump and be the face of our Stargate project. Obviously, it's a private venture. It's a private joint venture between three big companies. MGX comes in as an investment partner, and Microsoft and NVIDIA, obviously chip and AI, and everyone has a name, but it's all of them coming together to build data centers, because apparently they think that we need a lot of data centers to run the future AI projects, whatever they're trying to build. DeepSeek, however, ruined their plans. It removed nearly $1 trillion from their market in just one day.
Ooh, can I
and
tell you
600 billion
Majid?
was just NVIDIA.
You're gonna really laugh about this one. But basically, my friends were telling me how in university, in AUS, they have these professors who invested into NVIDIA. And when they heard about the entire DeepSeek news, they were completely triggered in class. And they kept saying, no, these shares, they better go back up. No, they looked really angry. Like they
back
looked
up like
disappointed.
8 or 9% next day. But to be honest, the people who were smart, as soon as they invested in NVIDIA and NVIDIA went like 300, 400 times up, they sold it, cashed out, and they were like, thank you very much for making us so much money. But the people who sat on it and were greedy, they always lose the money in the long run, because someday any company, you have the biggest company in the world, name the biggest one, XAI right now, Tesla, Apple, Microsoft, they will eventually lose money because some days something bad will happen. Alphabet lost a lot of money recently. Their market price, share prices went down because they didn't give out a good earning report. So I was looking at it in the morning, didn't read it in detail. But the main idea is they didn't have good earnings, so their share prices fell down. So there's always like an up and a down. People who invest, who are smart investors, they know when to quit when it's going up. So at a safe point, they just cash out.
And I think especially in the times,
not financial advice.
I feel like especially in the century that we live in now, where everyone's just being told, you need to invest, you need to invest. Like, just know, guys, like if a company is listed, you can go check its financial statements, and you can find out everything that you need to find out, and that's really the best way to do it.
The good thing about these listed companies is they have to report their earnings for staying listed on the market that they're in. If they're on New York Stock Exchange, if they're on DFM, Dubai Financial Market, Abu Dhabi, they have to show their quarterly reports, yearly returns, because that is a sign of, and that is why they're called public, because now they have to show their financials. So people who have invested in them, they should know how the company is doing.
And when you take a look at like a financial statement, don't just like, go to the profit and the revenue and think, okay, this is great, because a company might have great revenue and great profit, but you'll take a look at their non-current assets and you'll compare both years and they're selling them. Like, why are they selling them? You know, a company would only sell its non-current assets. So basically, non-current assets are like anything that doesn't like depreciate. Its value remains the same. So buildings, homes. If they're selling all of that, why are they selling it?
There's
you know,
a problem.
they might be struggling there. So do make sure to note down that stuff. Don't just look at the revenue and profit. But anyways, back to this story here. It's so interesting. I think it's even more interesting because, you know, Majid, we had this discussion and it was about Elon Musk. So Elon Musk actually responded to this entire Stargate project that's happening where MGX is involved. And he said they don't actually have the money for this. And honestly, I didn't believe him. I didn't believe Musk. I was like, Musk is being a hater because of the fact that he founded OpenAI with Sam Altman and then ended up leaving because he wanted to work on Tesla. So I just saw it as a man who's threatened by the success of ChatGPT, and I ignored it. But now that I'm seeing that Reuters is reporting that Altman is coming to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, it shows that Musk was right.
Yeah, he was right. They really don't have the money for this. And anyways, let's move on to our last story of the day. So the news agency Reuters, which we were just discussing, is expanding into the Middle East by launching an Arabic website and Reuters' next event in Abu Dhabi. And when I see this, Majid, I think that it's so lovely and it's so amazing because number one, Reuters, it's so credible. Even their writing, everything that they have. And, you know, I don't say, you can tell that I don't say this from a place of bias because I am a part of a news agency and I have the most respect for them. But more than that, I feel like this isn't spoken about often, but the UAE blocked Al Jazeera here. By the way, not everyone can access it. I don't know how we can access it, but from my normal phone, I can never access it. When I click on it, it doesn't come, which is really strange.
Weird.
So I think the fact that Reuters is going to come here and it's going to come with its own Arabic website, I think that people here, people a part of this community, they're going to be more aware because they're now going to have more options, especially a stronghold like
more
Reuters.
for Arabic-speaking people. That's the good part, that they're launching an Arabic. English website is always accessible here.
Yeah.
It's accessible throughout the world. AFP has gone behind. One of the biggest competitors for Reuters is AFP, Agence France Presse. Basically, it's a French agency, news agency.
You said it really well.
Yeah,
that's really
I
great.
just make a joke of it, but it's kind of like this. And then there's AP, which is American. So Reuters is UK. So these guys have a big monopoly, these big three people. But Anadolu from Turkey, they have come into the market and everyone is loving them. So these are the agencies, they're coming here. Good for them, good for Middle East. We're running out of time for the show. But thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for watching,
soon.
everyone. This is Smashy Business Show, a Smashy Business production under the Augustus Media Podcast Network. You can find our newsletter on Smashy TV and make sure to follow us on all of our channels. Have a beautiful day and we'll see you tomorrow. We'll give you more of an update on MONIIFY.